If you've ever felt like your ideas aren't getting the traction they deserve, or you've struggled to build a team that truly gets your vision, this episode is about to change everything for you. Welcome to the show today. It's Tracy Matthews here, and today's conversation is going to completely shift how you think about leadership, creativity, and your business. I'm sitting down with my dear friend, Jen Kem, and we are talking all things unicorn team. She is a powerhouse entrepreneur, a branding expert, and now the published author of Unicorn Team. Jen spent years helping top brands bring their biggest, boldest ideas to life. And in this episode, she is revealing the game-changing framework that is literally going to shift everything for everyone listening. So if you want to build a lean, powerful, and highly effective team without corporate red tape, and you want to move your ideas forward quickly and be able to validate which ideas are the right ideas to move forward. So today we're going to dive into the 3 types of leaders every team needs. We're also going to dive into why most small businesses fail when trying to use corporate systems and how to identify your new unique leadership type and why it's the key to unlocking your next level of success. So let's dive into this episode with Jen Kem. I am so excited to have my dear friend Jennifer Kem on the show today. Jen, welcome.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here, Tracy. Thanks for having me.
Well, congratulations on your new book,
Thank
Unicorn
you.
Team. This has been a long
Yes.
anticipated book. You've been talking about this probably for 2 years since I've known you, but you've been working in this framework for years, like
Yeah.
forever with your team. And I always am so, I really look up to you and admire you from the perspective of you just like on it. Like you seem just like so on it with everything. And I know that a lot of this has to do with how you run your businesses. So congratulations on this book,
Thank you.
rushing it. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, books are a different animal altogether than even business. And you know, Tracy, because you're an author as well. And
Yeah.
it's a different creature and it needs a little bit of a different strategy for sure. But what is true is I unicorn teamed my book launch. And so
You did.
everything that I do, I use my own models and frameworks to at least do my absolute best where I can feel proud of the outcome no matter what,
Mhm.
because I'm using a model that, has been tested in various ways across different things. So, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to dive into this, but I just also want to acknowledge like how much work you put into this thing because even 3 months ago, you're like, come to this call. And like you were like sharing with everyone what they needed to know about the book in order to help promote it and all the things. And it's remarkable what you put together. I just want to reflect that back to you because you worked so hard and you must be so tired. You're probably ready to take a nap. And
Yes, sister, this is a real thing. And anything like new, right, requires a level of energy that is just required. And even in the book, I talk about how do you muster that energy when you have to face hard things or pushes that make you feel super uncomfortable or tired. And yeah, thank you for just reflecting and acknowledging that because the struggle and the excitement is real. Like it's all true, like all parts of it. So,
so fun. I know. It's so cool.
yeah.
Okay, so let's just, for those of my listeners, we're listening today, not reading or watching. Can you just share a little bit about your journey? I mean, you've had such an amazing ride as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So why don't you share a little bit of your background?
Yeah, well, it's a long winding yarn, so I'll try to do it in like 2 minutes or less. But I tell people all the time, I'm not a spring chicken, I'm a seasoned chicken. Bringing brands, ideas, and products to market has been my entire career. And so I spent the first part of my career in corporate, where I was that unicorn, as I name rare talent or rare ideas. That's what I call unicorn ideas and unicorn people,
Mhm.
to have this natural ability. And when I say natural, I'm going to tell you what that really means in a moment. It seemed like I had a natural ability to rally complex ideas and people or groups of people that had different priorities to make an idea become real and then take off to the external world.
Mhm.
And my last big initiative before I left the corporate world was what we all, I think, take for granted today, including me, even though I was one of the unicorns behind that. And it's called video streaming, including what we're doing right now in your platform, and how we also consume content like on Netflix or on
Mhm.
Hulu. This is all based on the internet protocol technology that was brought to market in 2006, and that was my last big initiative, and it was huge. And now I know that it's reached not just billions of lives, but has made trillions of dollars, and that's
Mhm.
kind of who I am. And so when I became an entrepreneur, I realized that most of what was being taught to entrepreneurs was wrong. That was the
Mhm.
first thing. I was like, oh, like in order to actually bring an idea to market, you have to actually use the same principles that somebody like me, who was an executive, I was a strategy and marketing executive at a Fortune 15 company. So, like one of the biggest companies in the world. And the playbook that I used, I had to actually amend it even inside the corporate world because, there's a lot of like red tape and BS that goes on. And so when I became an entrepreneur, I actually knew it was even more important to use this playbook, especially since, as an entrepreneur, you're bootstrapping everything. You don't have the big budgets or the like numerous people who are like helping you get things to market. And so this playbook that I finally put into a book that I had always intended and wanted to do back in 2006 is really what is my secret sauce. I mean, truly. And when people come to me for help and my company for help, they always come to me like, oh, I want to remessage, I want to reimagine, I want to rebrand, I want to change my business model. And the first thing I always ask is, tell me more about your team. Tell me who's on your team. And when I
Mhm.
say your team, I'm not just talking about your staff. I'm not just talking about who are your mentors? Who is
Right.
helping you in your personal life? And the reason I need to know that is because in order for you to reimagine yourself or the products you want to bring to life, we
Mhm.
have to first clean up shop and then make sure that the ideas that you want to bring next are viable and that the people that you need to get on board with you are the right people for the next season that you're in. And
Mm.
so
Yes.
that's really like that's my body of work. That's what brings me to today. That's what's made me launch this book first, even though it was rejected 70 times, including by my current publisher, who is Penguin Hay House. They actually rejected the book and they came back around later. And it was because everybody wanted me to write this book on messaging, which I will. That's going to be my next
Yeah.
book. But the reason I was so stubborn on this idea is because I knew that this was the idea that would actually change people's minds, that it would actually make them think differently. And I'm more committed to that than I am to selling a listicle or a little course on the internet. Like I
Right.
was like, this is true thought leadership. And I truly believe that. Frankly, I also started to realize that me as a woman who has been brought in and I'm the rainmaker behind so many brands and businesses, that I realized that when I think of my top 10 referred business books, they're all written by men. And that's good
Mhm.
because those books are obviously very good. Otherwise, I would not be referring them. But it made me ask myself, why aren't there more books written by women
Mhm.
on business that aren't out there, that I don't see in the mainstream? And when I actually reflected in that way, I said, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. And then I realized that
Yeah.
the one person that I did refer was Sally Hogshead, who's a dear friend of mine. And, I consider her a mentor when it comes to definitely like advertising and brand and whatnot. And like she and I were having this conversation about it, and she's like, it's just true. I think that women, we have other things up for us, but also I think that the status quo publishing industry almost like doesn't really see us in that way. Like, even if you
Mm.
write a leadership book, it's usually put in the self-development category or,
Interesting.
so it was like, and so I feel like with this book and my body of work and you asking like, where was I and why am I here now? Like, what's my story? Like, I'm realizing that's the new season I'm into of like going, oh, who are these people we need to spotlight? Not from a us versus them perspective, more from a like, there are other voices and perspectives that we all could get value from. And even if this book helps you see that, I think it's going to enrich your life and make your work more helpful and valuable to your audience when you read it. So, yeah.
I'm so excited to like just dive deeper into the concept of the unicorn team because the first time I heard about this, I think was about 2 years ago because it's your birthday soon, right? Isn't it? When's your
Yeah,
birthday?
it is. Yep. It's February 25th.
February 25th. You were hosting an event. I got invited to it. and you started presenting this idea of unicorn team and that you were going to be writing the book and all of this stuff. And the concept is so fascinating to me, primarily as someone who is highly creative. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. So we were in a business mastermind together and all the things. Everyone would always say, like, you need to operate from the EOS system or this traction model and all these things. And for a smaller business, they're saying that it really is relatable for like a $2 million company or whatever, but it's kind of, you need a bigger company for something like that. And it's really hard to be able to move things forward with all the team members that are supposed to be present on the EOS organizational chart. And the thing that I really appealed to me about your unicorn team methodology is that you don't necessarily need that many people. You just need people who are good at the certain strengths to move forward. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So first of all, I love that you brought up EOS and Traction and Rocket Fuel, which are very good books and a good system.
Amazing. So
But
good.
that's not what my book is about. In fact, my book is not about operations at all.
Okay.
My book is about how to make sure that your ideas, that people want your
Mm,
ideas, and that in order for them to keep wanting your ideas, you need to operate in that vein. Like,
right.
I really believe that operational books, again, are great for when you've already got a business that
Mhm.
actually has a lot of stability. Once your business has a lot of stability, EOS works.
Yes.
You put EOS too early in, you're going to actually like put a blockade up against your innovative thinking and your creative thinking.
Right.
Okay. And
Okay.
so my book is the other side of the coin. That's why I want to be
I
clear, because
love
I'm
it.
not, I love operations. That's why I've been able to scale a 8-figure business myself, but I'm not an operations expert. I am a unicorn that understands operations role in my vision. It's not
Right.
about like there's a role for it in my vision, but it's not what is going to make you successful. Okay. And it's
Exactly.
definitely not
So
going to make you successful in pivoting. So I want to be clear, that's not what my book is about. And I think that's the other different idea that I want people to get is like my book is about, first, you're the unicorn. You're the first team member on your team. So
I love that.
mhm.
So share a little bit more about the concept of the book and the different roles on the team and the different, I don't know if you call them profile types or the ULTA exam.
Yeah, their leadership types. Yeah. So it starts with not kind of, it starts with the model that is presented in the book. Okay. And the model is called the Unicorn Innovation Model. And there are 3 sections to the model. And the first section is navigate, the second section is motivate, and the third section is communicate. And in the navigate section, it's about what are the ideas worth implementing? What are the ideas that you have, your creative ideas, your innovative ideas, your reimagined ideas that you want to bring to the world? And sometimes the idea is you, right? You want to be seen differently. You want to rebrand yourself, or it's like a new product that you want to bring to market, and it's like even your life. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I will have this idea, like maybe I want to work nomadic for a year, right? And I still want to make X amount of money. How could I make that idea come alive instead of like always overthinking it? So in my
Mhm.
book, the first section is about navigating the idea. And I give you like my own navigational process that makes me go, I can bet on this unicorn idea. Like I actually believe in it. I see how it's going to like support my vision and I'm going for it. Most ideas that we have, especially if you are a high visionizer energy, which we're going to talk about in a moment, like you think like you need to pursue every idea or you're worried that you're not pursuing the right ones. And the truth is that there's no good process for it. So I help you make better decisions up front so that you also don't run down your team when you bring your ideas to the team. Because this is also now, that's the first part. So it's the ideas and
Mhm.
navigating the idea. Once you do that, then we're talking about motivate. Motivate yourself and anybody that you need to help that idea come true. And those are the unicorns. That's your unicorn team for that idea. Okay. And each person on your team now that you've done the work in the first part of the book to kind of like really understand the idea and be able to communicate it, now you're going, who are the people I need to make this come true? It means that, like, let me give you an example. Like, I turned 50 last year and I knew that this decade was going to be my decade of contribution. And that's why this book was so important to me. It's my
Mhm.
idea, but also who's Jen Kem now? Like, I
Yeah.
wanted to reimagine how people saw me, even though it's still me, but making sure that people didn't just see me as who they thought I was 5 years ago, but actually, like, this is the era I'm stepping into. And I knew that a book would be that way. So, in order to build the unicorn team around this idea, which is the book, and how Jen Kem is going to be seen, I used my book for it. That's my point. Like,
Yes.
who were the right
Love it.
unicorns that I needed to help me bring this idea to life? And I worked that through inside of the book. Now, when we talk about the leadership types, there are three leadership types: visionizers, strategizers, and mobilizers. Visionizers care about their ideas. That's all they really care about. They care about their ideas, they care about their future, their vision, their la la la, right? Like, and that's great. We need that big thinking. We need all of
Mhm.
that. We don't want to suppress that energy down, but that's one energy. Strategizers are motivated by results. And I'm a high S. So I like to work on things and with people where I know that the results are going to happen. And I'm a stickler for results. So when people work with me, they're going to get results. And I'm an S. And then the mobilizer energy is motivated by accomplishment. And accomplishment is different than results and ideas. Accomplishment means they need to get it done. They need to get it done now. They need to make sure like all the tabs are closed, all the loops are closed, all the emails are deleted. They're also, the M's are the people who are energized by like demonstration even. So in terms of my model, I want you to understand like the visionizers aren't the CEOs. That's not what it's
Mm.
about. I'm an
Okay.
S. So, and I'm a really good CEO. And I say
Yeah.
that with pride and humility because results show that I have those results. It's not about that. In fact, I think the word visionary is one of the most dangerous terms in entrepreneurship
Mm.
because visionary means static, staying in your vision, not moving forward in your vision. And
Mm.
visionizer means acting towards your vision. Okay. And so for me, in the research and the doing over my 25 plus years of being who I am and
Yeah.
what I do in the world, it's these three energies that come together to actually get things done. So in my book, you're going to notice when you read it, you're going to be like, oh, you have all these like examples that are not people like me. You're talking about like Steve Jobs or Martha Stewart or like, people even in corporate. And I do also feature a lot of entrepreneurs. And what I'm trying to show you is it doesn't matter what size your dream is, what size business you want, the process still stays the same because it's about the
Mm.
idea. What is their
Right.
vision for their idea? For Steve Jobs, he had a galactic vision, right? He wanted to transform first personal computing for creatives, right? That was his first thing. He was like, these ugly machines, creatives are not
Right.
getting like stoked, right? He's like, and I hate, this is literally what he said. So I'm just trying to say, I hate Bill Gates. I think that his software it sucks for creatives. And so he decided he was going to bring this idea to life. And he knew that he needed a unicorn that had M skills, mobilizer skills. That's why Steve Wozniak
Mm.
was a perfect partner.
Right.
But remember, the two of them, Steve Jobs lived in Steve Wozniak's house with his mom, guys, in the beginning. Like Steve Jobs was unhoused. He didn't even have a place to live. Like he was this big thinker, big visionary, and he was like really smart. He's like, oh, I got to bring these people together. Now, every single idea usually starts with us having it and then talking someone's ear off about it, right? And
Yep.
the scale of what we want that idea to become may be different, but the process isn't different. That's what I want you to
Mm.
get. Like the process is not different. It's
Right.
just who has the first idea. I talk about in the book how Martha Stewart, she is not a V or an S. She's a high M. She
Interesting.
has gotten rich and famous by demonstration, by showing
Mhm.
people how to make a beautiful home, how to cook the perfect meal, how to like reinvent yourself, because she's a stickler for details and M's love that. And the premise in the book is that if you don't own the energy that you are naturally motivated by, it's
Mhm.
very hard to grow and scale.
Yeah.
And again, this is not my made up stuff, friends. Like this is like my life's work. And I'm tired of explaining it or even justifying my work to people. So I was like, I need to write these books so people get it, because they're not going to change unless I show it in one place.
Exactly.
So that's what the Motivate track is about. And inside of the book, you get to take the assessment, which shows you what your unique unicorn leadership type is, so that you can ask yourself, like, if I'm motivated by this, how can I then get people around me that have complementary or synergistic energies
Mhm.
and also capabilities? They need to have skills. Okay, just to be
Right.
clear, they need to have the skills, they need to be qualified, but they also need to be able to go with you when times are tough. Because that's when you really have to muster energy for new ideas to happen. Because new ideas require energy. So that's the second part. And then the third part is communicate, which is something we really desperately need so deeply right now. And part of the reason why ideas fail to launch or they die on the vine is because the unicorn team doesn't have a process to communicate what matters as they get it done. And so in the book, the third part has the communication structure, which has 3 tools that I use in my business. And this is why people like, they're always like, you get things done so fast. And I'm like, I actually don't get things done fast at all. I get things done strategically because I'm a SV. I'm a strategizing visionizer, which is called the mastermind in the book. Whereas Tracy, you're a visionizing strategizer, which is the legend, which is Steve Jobs, kind of like just to kind of give people a perspective. And so VSs are very like, of course, like creative. They can see things like in the future very well. But the S in them is super frustrated because nobody gets it and they're fucking
This
frustrated
is
like
so
that.
true. Oh my
Right. And
God.
so, and that's why they're intense and they are stubborn. And I say this with all love. This is not a
No, I
bad
am, but
thing.
you're not like saying anything I don't know or my team doesn't know. It's
Right.
true.
And so,
I get
my,
frustrated a lot because they
yeah,
don't get it.
yeah, because your
They're
vision
lost.
means so much to you. And what I think that's why I'm telling everybody, like, everybody should be using this book with their team. They should use it with their spouse or their partner or their kids.
Mhm.
Like, because part of this is just understanding, like, this is my vision for my life, for us, for everything that we have going on here. And if you want to enroll people into it, this is the book that you need. So that's like you, whereas I'm an SV. So I only pick things that win. That's also when I'm disappointed or like, let's say there's a client issue or whatever, I kind of go, it's fine because I know how to like work around it. And like, but the shadow of me is like, as a strategizer, high energy, I can see the full thing and it's
Yeah.
hard to explain the full thing for people. Like it really is, because also we live in a world, this would have been easier back in like the early 2000s and earlier, but now because of social media, people are so overwhelmed with noise. Then
Yes.
also that vision is put on a pedestal, that
Mm.
what I'm saying is like, vision isn't just it, especially for the CEO or the startup founder. You could be a startup founder and you don't even have V at all in you. That's what's
Mm.
tripping out people who take the assessment. Like our friend Selena Sue. She's an
Yes.
SM. She's not a V at
That
all,
makes
but she runs
me
a really strong
that makes
thing.
me that doesn't surprise me at all because she's so
Right.
tactical with everything. Yes.
Correct. And so instead of her feeling like she needs to be a vision person in order to be super successful, it gives her the relief and less pressure to actually show up and be in her strength so that her team knows this is how I operate and we move fast. And again, a lot of these ideas are contrarian to what's currently taught on the
Mhm.
streets. And frankly, I noticed that a lot of women specifically struggle with this because they learn from a lot of these male visionary versus
Right.
integrator conversations and whatnot. And I'm not saying those are bad things. I'm saying that it's not the full thing. And
Right.
that if you don't understand this thing, you're going to choose wrong. You're going to choose the wrong idea to pursue. You're going to choose the wrong mentor to follow. You're going to hire people and not understand why it doesn't work out and feel frustrated and feel like you suck as a manager. And again, this book is not for you turning into a perfect leader. This is about you understanding how it works so you can be better at it, because there's no
Yes.
such thing, because humans are humans and we're hard. Okay. I'd rather, like, books and dogs for me are much easier than humans. And I have kids. So trust me, I like, okay. But it is what it is. And this is the world we live in. And we are now under all the same, what I call triple A threat, which is, AI, automation, and the algorithms, and we can't
Mhm.
control those things. So, as humans, as creatives, as innovators, and yes, we are innovators, innovation isn't about tech. Innovation
Mhm.
is anything that makes things better, right? So, it doesn't have to be your big idea doesn't have to be solving poverty for the world, although if that's your vision, fantastic. It could be
Mhm.
as simple as like delighting people with a beautiful piece of jewelry that becomes an heirloom that they pass on
Yeah.
to their kids, right? It can be like a balloon service that helps people feel happy when they're not feeling well. I mean, any idea is an innovation. And so that's the other thing that I hope this book helps you think about as you do whatever you're up to next.
I feel like there is so much here on all these different types, right?
Yeah.
And how do you bring this to the world? I've just known you for so long and I've seen what like a badass you are and how you can execute and move things forward into the world. Like what are some of the challenges that some of the different types might experience?
Oh, well, I go through all the shadow of every single, and if you take the unicorn leadership type assessment that comes with the book, you get a 51-page customized report for you. And inside of that
Wow.
report, you will see what your shadow is as a leader. But I'll go with what I call the big buckets. So the
Okay.
V, the S, and the M, because the 9 types are categories of them. So for the visionizers, as I said, they're motivated by their ideas, only their ideas. That's all they care about, really. Their vision for the world, their vision for their lives, the ideas that'll change the world, blah, blah, blah. So obviously on the flip side of that is sometimes when those dreams are great, but fantasy is folly, I like to say. So
Mhm.
what happens is V's shadow is like they're so pumped up on their ideas, they don't take this time to really be able to express to other people what the impact is, like how we can go together, how to enroll other people into that vision. So V's forget that like we're not all in love with your ideas, friends. Okay, like that's very inspiring, but like the shadow is the resentment that they have that they even have to explain it at all, right? They're like, I have these great ideas. What's wrong with you? Like get on the train, right?
Get
So
on the
that's a
train.
V energy. An S energy, strategizer energy, we care and are motivated by results. And so the shadow is we can be very intense when people don't listen to us because we're like,
Mhm.
we play chess, not checkers. Okay.
Yeah.
And we see the big picture and understand how the sausage is made. And we can get intense and frustrated when people don't follow what we say. And so, what strategizers need is more empathy and definitely more like meditation so we don't get pissed off at everybody. Because if you think V's are intense, S's are way more intense. And S's are actually the hardest to hire
Yeah,
because
I
we
could say
get
that.
paid a lot. We get paid a lot
Mhm.
because we are really the rainmakers. Like we know how to make the money. The V's are more like the talent and the entertainers, and then like the orators. And I'm a SV, so I'm a strategizing visionizer. So I'm obviously like both, but S always wins with me because that's my top energy. And then if you're a mobilizer energy, you are motivated by accomplishment, right? And so you want to feel like every day, whatever was on your checklist, it got done. And if it doesn't get done, you can't sleep. Okay. So the
Mm.
flip side of that is you will do things that even don't matter just to accomplish your checklist. And that's what drives S's and V's crazy about M's because we're like, sometimes we're moving in another direction and you're still focused like on just your checklist. And this is
Mhm.
where the EOS and the operating system stuff can really get fucked up is because that's all about SOPs and like they must stay this way. And I'm saying, no, you actually need a flexible structure and you need the M's on your team to actually know that it is their job to evolve the processes, not your job as a V. V's do not want to evolve process.
They do not wanna
S's
do that. I will tell
S's
you
don't
that.
want to evolve process. What we want is for M's to be empowered to change the process and then communicate it back to us. And it is our job as S's and V's to go, I'm so glad you're doing that and I'm not. Instead
Mhm.
of going, why are you changing it? I bought EOS. Follow the playbook. I'm like, y'all, EOS doesn't work well unless
Mm.
you're over $2 million or more. And it doesn't even, when I say that again,
I
good
would say even
system,
higher than that, Jen, because I think
it
it's
doesn't have flexibility. That's the
no.
problem. So
And
I'm
I
trying to
feel
change it.
let down when you don't hit the rocks every quarter. It's like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like I don't know. It's an amazing system, and I learned so much, but every time we really tried to go all in on it, it just has failed inside my company.
Well, and the other thing too is, and here's another perspective. A system like EOS won't work unless you actually know my stuff first. Meaning, like, if you
Yeah,
understand why you guys are struggling, it's because of your who's on the team.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's not even that EOS is like, and we said that already. It's not that it's bad or it's not working. And I want you guys to have this perspective, those of you listening right now, that even if you've tried a process, took in a course, hired team, it's this, what I'm telling you is the first thing. Then whatever you invest in is going to work better. But if you go and try to do the things that are not naturally, structurally supportive of the way your energy works, because that's the other flip side. How
Mhm.
many books have we read on time and productivity, right? And
Right.
I'm always like, yes, of course. I have a whole time structure and I love productivity, but I will tell you this, like, you can create all the time you want. You can create all the capacity you want. But when you have free time, if you don't have the energy to pursue your new ideas, then who cares? So you built all this time, but you have no energy to like lift off the new idea that you have. That's sad, right? And then you beat yourself
Yeah.
up because you're like, damn it. Like I create all this time and I'm still not motivated. What's wrong with me? I'm like, sister, you're tired. I get it. But also that's where you probably don't have a good S on your team to keep the thing going. Like an S's
Mm.
job is to keep the ball rolling. M's job is to keep like do the work on the daily. And then the V's job is to kind of create relationships and tell more people about what's happening. So
I'm
yeah.
both the V and the S, and so it's hard to be both,
It
moving both
it
forward.
currently it's hard for you, but if you read my book and you apply it, it won't be hard anymore. You'll
No, I
actually
know.
own
I
it.
can't wait. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I mean, I know just what I've learned from you talking about it, but I just got my book. I'll be listening to the
Yay.
audios shortly. I cannot wait. All right, and I also want to be clear. I have an awesome team. So I don't want them to like mistake anything that we heard. It's just I think that there's more to learn about how we can work better together
Well, I
in
think
all of
that one thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people that I work with is that this book gives the team common language to use when
it.
describing what
Exactly.
they're pursuing, and that's really important to use common language when we all have different motivational types. And so this book gives you language to use that helps you get through hard conversations or disappointments. Because yeah, it's like you can say you love your team. I love my team too, but my team disappoints me, and I can say that out loud.
Mhm.
And you know what? I disappoint them too. That's what
Yeah.
like, and that's what a lot of leaders need to understand is you're disappointing your team too. They just will never tell you because you're the boss and they're not. But if you actually want to create something great together, then you
Mhm.
have to own that you also have a role. That's why I said unicorn team is not about us versus them. That's why I will tell you this. One thing, I like EOS, but sorry, Gino, I have to say it out loud. I think the idea of the visionary and the integrator is a broken idea. I think that to
Mm.
put us on a pedestal and be like, then everybody's just got to do work, that's it's not going to work. Like you have to be like, you have to understand that you're still part of the team. It doesn't mean you have to work harder. It doesn't mean you have to like
I work my
be
butt
out of
off.
your values. You can delegate tasks, but you can't delegate your leadership. So
Exactly.
that's it.
Yeah. Amazing. Jen, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of this book. I'm very excited to dive right in. Where can everyone find it and learn more about their assessment and all the things?
Yeah, so you can buy the book, I mean, anywhere that books are sold, but Amazon obviously is the best and easiest place if you have Prime delivery because it's free. And if you walk into Barnes and Noble or your local bookstore and they don't have it on the shelves for some reason, just tell them to order it for you. They can do that right from the front and have it shipped even to your house. So that's one thing. Then you can also go to unicornteambook.com, and on that page, even after like this week that we're doing this conversation with Tracy, like it's the book launch week, but I'm sure people will listen to this after. And so that page will still be alive and it will direct you to all the other resources that we spoke about today.
Awesome. If there's one thing that you want to leave our audience with today, what is it?
Well, I want you to know that you are a rare unicorn. Like we need more rare air. We need more people sharing their rare. And my acronym for rare is really awkward, really excellent. And
I love that.
like, I want you to fully like own that you are a unicorn, whatever role you play, whether you are on another team, whether you are a agency or services based business, whether you are in a pivot or a transition of whatever, we need more unicorns. We don't need more workhorses. We don't need more donkeys, and we definitely don't need any more jackasses. So surround yourself with unicorns and share your rare.
I love that. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the show today. Make sure that you pick up a copy of Unicorn Team. It is going to change the game for your business. And I'll have all the links in the show notes below. And if you haven't